Well, hello and welcome to I Love Gay today. And I think this is going to be a little bit of a different tempo today. This will be more like a fireside chat with my friend, my colleague, my peer in the world, David Perry in San Francisco. How are you, David?
Hey, Matt, ahoy. It's always good to be online with you. It seems like, well, an epoch ago, but during the dark days of COVID, when we first got together and said, how are we going to communicate during this period? Well, we're still doing it. And I really have to give hats off to you because you have really helped people stay connected, especially the LGBTQ plus community during these very strange times.
Well, thank you. Well, what's interesting is that I really consider you a friend and we've really gotten to know each other over the last few years. Yet we haven't met in person yet. We tried.
No. Yeah, my husband and I decided that we needed a word for the experience of meeting someone in person for the first time that you've only met on Zoom during COVID. So we invented a word called covidiation. It's a noun, although I guess you could make it a verb, we covidiate. So when you and I finally get together in the same physical plane over a drink or something, that will be our covidiation.
I love this. But what I especially love, one of the reasons that makes it easy to stay in touch with you is because, you know, you're in the world of PR and you have clients that you're always helping to get the word out. And of course, through social media and especially Twitter, that's one of the main areas that you and I just kind of connect with. And I probably also LinkedIn. And so between those, that kind of sphere, most people are always thinking Facebook and Instagram, but you're in a different place.
Yeah, well, I mean, I use them all, and LinkedIn, interestingly enough, and I think you'd agree, over the last few years has become a little bit more Facebooky, and I don't mean that in a bad way.
Yeah.
And there was an article the other day, I believe in the New York Times, that talked about how this was their premise, that because of COVID, professionals were more willing to be emotional and personal in the workspace. So before it was all about resumes and news releases on LinkedIn, but now it was people saying, well, you know, I just had a conversation with Matt and we were talking about how COVID impacted us, that LinkedIn had become more personal, which in these post-COVID years, quote unquote, or whatever we're in, I think is a trend. I think people, if anything, have learned from COVID how to be a little less uptight. And I think that's a good thing for people in the professional sphere.
Yeah, I agree. But in that professional world, one of your clients is one that I think people know it the world over, based in San Francisco, the heart of where so much LGBTQ life started, but the Castro Theatre. And yeah, tell us a little bit about what's going on there.
Well, you know, the Castro Theatre celebrated its 100th birthday this year, along with Judy Garland celebrating her 100th birthday. I'm not old enough to remember when she was born, but goodness gracious, she was certainly important in my gay life. And the Castro Theatre was built and is still owned by the Nasser family of San Francisco. And in January, they asked well-respected, esteemed Bay Area small business, Another Planet Entertainment, who is known for producing concerts. Like, for instance, this fall, they're going to be producing Little Nas X in San Francisco. Morrissey is coming to the Castro Theatre. So this is a company whose leadership is women, a third LGBT staff, and they have taken on the stewardship of the Castro Theatre and have already spent hundreds of thousands of dollars and will be spending, well, without exaggeration, probably tens of millions to renovate and restore the Castro Theatre to its 1922 architectural significance. It's probably not going to start until the spring of 2023, so we're still programming all the way through the end of the year, but sometime in spring 2023, the renovation will start, including something that's become a little controversial, but I wanted to talk about that, and that is the adaptation of the seats. And the seats right now are fixed. They were installed the last time in 2001, so they're not, you know, antiques or anything, to make the seating adaptable. So when you have a concert or a special event or a gay wedding, it can be an open space. And then if you have a film screening, because the Castro Theatre is known as a film venue, so the Frameline LGBT Film Festival, the Silent Film Festival, the Jewish Film Festival, the Asian International Film Festival, the Noir Film Festival, all of those will still be at the Castro. And when those screenings come in, the seats will come in to be adaptable. So the next few months, those plans are being rolled out. And Knockwood is someone who went to the Castro for the first time in October 1986. I'm hoping that the new restored Castro Theatre will be bigger and better than ever in summer 2023.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, being from California myself, LA, of course, but I would go to San Francisco quite often. I've been to the Castro Theatre many times, and even recently I saw the Downton Abbey, one of their movies. I watched it at that theater just a few summers ago. But I've also been to
Yeah.
the Lesbians Who Tech as well, that they do their
Well,
event
oh,
there.
yeah, well, yes, thanks for mentioning that. I didn't mean to jump on you. You and I have no trouble filling airtime. I remember the last lesbian bar in the Castro. It's now a gay kind of Levi's bar, The Edge,
Yeah.
at I believe that's 18th and Collingwood. And it was the last lesbian bar in the Castro. And many people have commented over the years that the lesbian presence in the Castro has kind of, diminished. Well, Lesbians the Tech is the biggest women's tech event in the world, I believe, and it is very much happening this October in the Castro, including the Castro Theatre.
Oh, wow. Yeah, no, good. It's great to hear that, because I know that, they've grown. They're, they and a few other events, especially even over the last few years, they're kind of those new emerging, looking at things in a very different way. I would say Klexicon is one, and then Lesbians Who Tech is probably the other.
Yeah, and people really still desire and want to get together in person. I know you know as well as I do. In the first few months of COVID, a lot of people said, "Oh, we're not going to do in-person meetings anymore. It's all going to be Zoom." Well, as I do this interview right now in San Francisco, Dreamforce is happening,
Yeah.
and this is the biggest conference to happen in San Francisco since 2019. And everyone who thought that it wasn't going to be back, well, I would advise you not to go to 4th and Howard Street right about now, because the traffic is going to be horrible. You've got 40,000 people in person taking part in this convention. And that's good for business. That's good for San Francisco, including that's good for a lot of LGBT small businesses in San Francisco and the Castro.
Oh, yeah. No, it's a new, everybody was saying things getting back to normal. Then they said new normal. I think at the end of the day, we just realized, especially for myself personally, but I think for others that I meet, it's just a different mix in terms of, we've expanded upon and grown quickly the power of Zoom, the power of LinkedIn, the power of so many of these tools, but they are just tools. They can't replace the fact that we're still analog creatures.
Yes, I've never heard that phrase. I'm going to steal that, but I'll give you credit. We are analog creatures. That's true.
Yeah.
So for me, my mother, who was my great mentor along with my grandmother, she was a switchboard operator for the telephone company. And at age 16, she was on the switchboard the night of the War of the Worlds broadcast in 1938. And she told me the story about how suddenly the switchboard lit up and people were just panicked. That new medium, radio, had panicked the world. And over the years, 40 years working for the telephone company, she adapted. She learned about video phones, which I remember her telling me in the 1960s, we can do video calls. Society isn't ready for it. And so here we are now, Zooming video calls. So my point is, this woman who at age 16, over a 46-year career, saw incredible changes in technology and media. And she rolled with the flow. And I'm especially proud that as a very rare woman executive during that period, she taught me, I hope, to be adaptable and embrace technology, but still understand, as you said, technology is just a tool. It's still about you and me.
Yeah, it's people do business with people, and it'll probably always be that way. It's just so I always keep that in my mind. And but no, what's interesting also is that you're very representative of another big trend, especially even in the social side of LGBTQ life, which is so many folks have that I've always known in LA, San Francisco, and elsewhere. They always said, "Oh, someday when I retire, I'm going to buy my house in Palm Springs and move down there and live out my days." And the pandemic seemed to have expedited that decision-making process very quickly. People are getting out of the cities, and they said, "I think I'm going to go to Palm Springs now." And so Palm Springs has become like this huge extension of LA, San Francisco, and you're part of that, and you're there as well, right?
Yeah, listen, my husband and I bought a house down here about 5 years ago, and our business is still registered in San Francisco. I'm on the board of the San Francisco Chamber of Commerce, openly gay member, head of the Small Business Committee. As you know, co-founded the Rainbow Honor Walk. Big part of our life will always be in San Francisco, but we love Palm Springs. And to your point, in a very real way, Palm Springs has become a Zoom suburb of San Francisco and LA and San Diego. There's so many gay men and lesbians who have moved here from San Francisco. I jokingly call Palm Springs the Castro diaspora.
It fascinates me, and again, it goes back to the social scene from that. I mean, every time you go to on Arenas Road or anywhere, a lot of the restaurants that are extremely gay friendly. The whole desert seems very gay
It's
friendly.
incredible. So right now I'm speaking to you from Palm Springs. Tomorrow I'll be on the flight to San Francisco for a chamber meeting. I'll take Alaska up. I call it Muni. For those of you who know San Francisco, you know what I mean. It's just very dependable. But tonight here in Palm Springs is an artist opening. Talk about technology. It's a live artist event at Grand Central Cafe, one of the most LGBT friendly restaurants in Palm Springs. But simultaneously, the artist, who is Bolivian, will have an exhibition in Bolivia via Zoom and technology. Arenas is getting ready for Gay Pride. The Purple Room, Palm Springs, is booming after being closed and open again during COVID. Palm Springs is really busy, and that's a good thing. San Francisco is getting busy. It's taking longer because big cities like New York, Los Angeles, and San Francisco, bigger, more dense cities, had a harder time bouncing out of COVID, but they're getting there too.
Yeah, no, I enjoy that. And you're talking about travel a lot, and you and I were almost able to meet up in Madrid just about a week ago, but you were there in Italy and Spain, but a lot of it ties in with your book you wrote, and including the town of Orvieto in
Yeah, thank you
Italy.
for the shameless plug. I appreciate it. As you know, I published my first novel not quite 2 years ago, Upon This Rock, and in all modesty, it is the best-selling book ever from my publisher, Pace Press. It's won 2 awards, silver medal from the Independent Book Publishers Association, and Best Gay Novel of 2021 from the San Francisco Book Festival. And currently, it is being developed as a screenplay by a screenwriter I'm working with. And now, of course, the goal is getting a producer to buy that screenplay. So anyone out there who wants a gay mystery, critically acclaimed on the screen or on Netflix, call me maybe. The sequel this summer, I started working on with 2 of the same characters, Adriano and Lee, this gay investigative couple from San Francisco. And this second novel, whose working title is Thorns of the 15 Roses, is set in another small town, Grazalema, in the south of Spain. And like my first book, or in Orvieto, Upon This Rock, it was inspired by a real event. The sequel is inspired by a real event during the Spanish Civil War in Spain.
Wow. I was wondering why you were, because I saw you in Orvieto on social media, but then I saw you, noticed you were in Spain. It's just, we were stalking each other.
Yeah, I can't believe we missed each other in Madrid. That would have been great, because I think at the moment Madrid is, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, seriously. I think Madrid at the moment is the, if not one of the gay capitals of Europe, if not the world at the moment.
It's amazing. I was both in Barcelona and Madrid, and they're both fantastic for all aspects of life. But what fascinates me the most, I've never seen a place, you're walking around in Madrid as the afternoon kind of continues on and gets later into 3, 4, 5 o'clock, and people, the whole city is just alive, and you just and it's humming and thrumming with just activity everywhere, and people are just, and the streets are packed, and everybody's just, and I always wonder, like, first, don't they work, and also, what are they doing? Like, what brought everybody out? But no, it's shopping, it's eating, and it's social life all mixed into one, and it happened every night.
It's being Spanish. As Alfredo said to me, my brother-in-law, Carlos, is an architect in Spain. And the lockdown in Spain and Italy, as you know, was really, really brutal. Alfredo and I, we got back actually from Spain when COVID hit, and we hunkered down here in Palm Springs. Lots of space, not so bad. Did everything we could to keep ourselves and our friends safe. But we started Zooming with Alfredo and his family every day in Spain. We were all worried. I mean, was this the Andromeda strain or not? And I remember one day we were Skyping rather, with Alfredo's family, and Alfredo was out by the pool with a palm tree in the background. And I said, your brother Carlos is in a tiny little apartment in Madrid, can't go 100 meters. The next time we Skype with him, get in your office and cut off the light, look miserable. That's kind of a joke, but the serious thing is Spaniards live outside, especially during the summer. And so that lockdown, not being able to get out in the streets and socialize in that way, which even more than Italy, is uniquely Spanish. Spaniards live on the streets and live to socialize, especially at night.
Yeah. Well, I loved it all. And my husband and I, as we're walking along, we said, well, as a future life dream or point, it's like, maybe if there was another opportunity to live here, maybe that wouldn't be a bad thing.
Madrid would be a very great place to live. I'm very proud to say I'm officially also a Spanish citizen, have my Spanish passport, and we love Spain. We can't wait to get back to Madrid. Love Italy, of course, But Spain is my home, and Madrid, I think at the moment, is truly having a moment, a gay moment, but also just a world city moment.
Yeah, I love this. Well, I look forward to as it's very obvious to anybody watching this, I look forward to when we actually do hang out, have dinner, whatever part of the world we might be in. But you and I have to connect soon.
We have to make our date for our covidiation. So I think actually we should tag this interview #covidiation and see if we can get it trending on Twitter.
You never know. I don't think we're there yet. We were talking earlier. Social media is very humbling. It always reminds you that you're not you're not all that in a bag of chips. You're just you're just a piece of this wonderful mosaic that's millions of voices out there. And but who knows? Maybe people will pay attention to that covidiation part up from us.
It will. Well, I certainly pay attention to you, and I'm serious, and I'm not blowing smoke. It's really been a pleasure getting to know you digitally and cyberly, but you've really continued to do good work, and not just for the LGBT community, but all the work you do for advertising and the work you put out there, with changing trends and modes of communication. It's really important. So really don't forget that. I say that to you as someone who's been in this business for a long time. You do great work, so keep doing it.
Well, thank you. It's been wonderful to connect with you here, and I look forward to seeing you soon.
You too. Ahoy, Matt.
Feels good, so good. Coming back